It's perfect.
Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm glad that y'all made it over. We on time again tonight. Have a special guest. Y'all know how I feel about Black History Month, about Black History period. So, I had to end February with a bang. So I'm going to go ahead and give the guest an opportunity to introduce himself, and then we're going to go straight into it.
So my name is Royal Ramey. I'm the co-founder and the chief program officer of the Forestry and Fire Recruitment Program, also known as FFRP.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. Really glad to have this opportunity to get you up here so we can see what success in Black history looks like. So what's your background as far as like how you were raised? Were you raised in a two-parent household? Did you have siblings?
Yeah, so I was raised by my mom and a stepdad actually.
Okay.
And then I got two sisters that I was raised with, one older, one younger. And I have some family in Houston, Texas, and I have some
Okay.
family up in Los Angeles, California. But I was more raised with the LA folks. So I'm from California. I was born in Houston, but raised in California. So LA.
Okay. Both my favorite spots. Okay. When you were growing up, did you get in any trouble? Like what type of child were you? Were you a pretty good kid?
Yeah, in school I was right, but in the streets I was this little havoc little kid, little baby kid out there just running around. I had two sisters, so I was the only boy, so I had to find other brothers in the neighborhood, right? And
Right.
I had some definitely had some trouble as a juvenile, and I actually as an adult as well. So
Okay. So what was your relationship like with your mother and your stepfather?
okay, I'm getting a little deep now. My mom, I love my mom. She was pretty much the centerpiece of my world outside
Mm-hmm.
of my great grandma, but and my aunties. But my stepfather, he wasn't a person that I really, you know, loved.
Okay.
So
Got it.
that's what kind of drew me more to the streets. And I didn't have that because the nature versus nurture kind of get down. I think it was a little bit of combination of both for myself, but in different stages in my life. As a younger kid, I was more towards um, nature or whatever, but then or nurture. I mean, and then as I got older, it was kind of like more nurture. So yeah, it was a little challenge because my mom she worked swing shift. My stepfather he worked graveyard shift. So when I came home from school, he
Mm-hmm.
gave me a little, he gave me some little tough love. But as an adult now thinking about it, he actually helped me out a lot.
Okay. Did you have a relationship with your biological father?
I met him when I was 18 years old, which was
Oh, okay.
interesting. Actually, kind of he's like a twin of mine. We actually
Wow.
a lot of like similarities, and I see where I get my kind of my personality and stuff from.
Mm-hmm.
Houston boy, born and raised, and yeah, it was just different. It was crazy just meeting him, and we have a great relationship today.
Good.
But definitely like didn't have that upbringing with him, so I think that kind of like I was angry and upset when I was growing up, and he was one of the missing pieces of why I was feeling that way. So
Okay. Now, one thing that I notice more and more is that the anger and the resentment is normally towards the parent that was there versus the parent that wasn't there.
right.
Um, was that the situation for you?
And yeah, it was so when I became an adult, I actually learned about how that all happened, and the relationship between my mom and my dad, which was interesting. It's a long story. I'll be here all day talking about that. But for the most part, it was a mutual thing. Nothing really crazy. It was just uncertain. Like, you know, it was. I guess just it was just the circumstances that was happening around that time that I was born that pretty much had my mom flee to California. Uh,
Okay.
my dad stayed in Houston. It was just a lot of little different things, which kind of just derailed their relationship or whatever. But for the most part, yeah, I was definitely upset at my mom, especially when my
Mhm.
dad came into play because I felt like he had a little bit more control than that I wanted, or
Mhm.
I felt like he didn't, me the first time meeting him, he was like, I'm your daddy, and whatever I tell you to do, you need to do it. Like I was
Okay.
like, who are you? I don't even know your name. I don't know your last
Right.
name. I'm 8 years old. Like, what is you talking about? Like, I don't know nothing. Like, what are you talking about? And then we end up moving with him, and then the relationship was always kind of like that. It was rocky, but he had a lot of little cool principles. He was a janitor at like the LAX, so like the airport. He was
Okay.
real, when it comes to cleanliness, he was really on top of that type of stuff. But he took it to a little extreme for me, just not having that type of relationship and understanding that, he didn't have kids of himself, so he didn't really
Mhm.
understand, we didn't have a bond. So off the
Right.
bat, for me, it was just a little, kind of confusing and like, who's this dude? And then he just going hard in the paint on me. So and my sisters as well. So, but for it is what it is. Actually, I'm glad I experienced that because I am a stepfather myself. Uh,
Mhm.
but my kids, have my last name. Like I accept them for like my biological kids. I love them to death. Do anything for them.
So
So
it's an official relationship with the bond, not just an authority figure that's in the
right,
house. Okay.
right. That was a little challenge for me, just not being aware and understanding what was going on. So
Okay. We got one question already. It says, "Was your stepfather abusive? Did he treat you different because you wasn't his biological child?"
yeah, honestly, back in the day, I was born in '89, so
Hmm.
I was raised in the 2000s, so that butt whoopings was in effect.
Right.
I like, all right.
Right.
Definitely treated me different. I felt like he really didn't love me. I
Hmm.
see moments of like looking really back of some type some type of affection in a sense, but that was like I could probably name maybe two or three times, But other than that, it just was different, Not trying to bash the dude because he
Right.
passed away or whatever, and just being transparent, for a while, I didn't even go to his funeral type stuff, so
Oh
that's
wow. Okay. Okay.
relationship we had, but looking back, he just was miseducated, was put in a situation where he didn't really understand, I think. And then when you don't, come in a situation where you got three kids that automatically yours,
Hmm.
his upbringing, like all those different traumas that he had when he grew up, I think all that was in combined like a gumbo, right? All type of mixed up, and
Okay.
it was not even trying to save him either though, but it's just
Right.
the more of a have an understanding of what took place. And even my mom said some things to him that kind of made him a little jealous. That kind of like, just it's a combination of things. So I don't want
Okay.
to be one-sided, to be transparent.
Okay. I think probably that because you were born in '89, so we're not that far off. I think that our generation of parents, they was just like, look, we got to get a job done. We just discipline, feed you, raise you. That's our job, and that's it. It's no understanding of our feelings, nothing like that. We just, because they didn't know any better, really, because of their parents and how they was raised. So we didn't really get to what they didn't get to really, like heal from trauma or therapy. So they just kind of like pass that down. Like, you just do what I say. That's it. Your opinion doesn't count. Your feelings really don't matter. This is just how it goes. So,
I,
so
I
maybe, look, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, it was that, and I'm actually talk on that when I went to prison because I have realized some things. So yeah, that's definitely
Okay. So I
yeah.
know you said you met your biological father when you were 18. So when you actually met him, what was that experience like? Like what did you feel? What was the thoughts in your head when you met him?
Yeah, just like my mom, she used to always say, "Man, you look so much like your dad," and the anticipation and trying to figure out like where I come from, who I am, some sense of identity, right? For me
Mhm.
personally, as a boy, as a man, as a young man, I say, and really trying to like get those pieces in my life kind of like solved and done. I think that was one of the things that growing up was like, who am I? What is my identity? Where I come from,
Right.
the purpose, like just all those little different things as you growing up. So when I met him, and saw him for the first time, I'm like, man, he looked like me a little bit, right? He kind of looked like me, it was like a reverse thing, a little cocky or whatever. But yeah, I see my dad and my little brother. I found out I had a little brother at that time as well. Um,
Okay.
and I think he was like 8 years older, 10 to 8 years older. I think at the time, no, Tyree's like 20 now. I think, yeah. So he was a little younger,
Wow.
or whatever. And it was cool. It was emotional. I remember
Hmm.
being emotional inside. I didn't pretty much show it too much, but I was like, man, I've been waiting for this moment. I used to, you know, every birthday, right? You make a wish. Like I want to see my
Hmm.
dad. I want to know where I'm from. Like, like that was one of the things for me personally. And it was just a lot of emotions. It was a lot of excitement. I was happy. I was sad, and then actually talking to him about like what really happened and trying to
Hmm.
get that closure for that. And I found out that I couldn't really be upset with him. They pretty
Hmm.
much their stories kind of lined up with each other. He actually found me on MySpace through my cousin.
Oh wow.
It's crazy, right? And I didn't even have a picture of myself or nothing. So that's another story for another time as well. But yeah,
Okay. Okay.
it was crazy. It was crazy, and I was like, man, it's just a lot of emotions and thoughts, and I was just grateful for.
Okay. So your little brother, do you have a relationship with him now?
Yeah, some sort of, I talked to him. We had a conversation at Christmas, the last Christmas actually. Uh, me being, I guess, the older brother, me being in California, he actually played football in high school.
Hmm.
I don't want to put too much of his business out there or whatever, but
Right.
he hit me up, was like, "Hey, come in, I want to come see you, right? But can I have my girlfriend tag along?" And I'm like, I'm really trying to figure out who you are. I'm not trying to send for no other.
Exactly.
So it was that kind of like, all right, let me. It was a little shaky
Yeah.
at that moment, but we have talked recently, so I'll probably fly him out, come check us out, and then just it's kind of crazy just knowing that you have another side of a family, but you don't really know, and you're trying to get to
Hmm.
know, and family's family, but family can be also not
Right.
an asset, but could be a liability too. So I was like,
Right.
and then my kids, I'm protective of my kids. My wife is, so like I don't know my brother. I love you, my blood, but I don't know you like
Hmm.
that. So just those little things because you staying with us, and my daughter is 12 and my son is 10. So it just those little things, and then I'm a firefighter, so I'll be gone for
Right. Exactly.
so it all depends. Like I wanted to be there, so but yeah, so yeah, I talked to him recently, but yeah, he kind of threw me off for that though. I was like. Mm.
Gotcha. Look, nothing wrong with setting healthy boundaries. Even with family, I'm learning that too. You got to do what you got to do. You got to think of the family that you were born into is important, but the family that you made, that's really important. That's solid right there, regardless of whatever else is going on the outside.
Facts.
So definitely okay. So how's your relationship with your sisters?
Oof. Um. Oof. That's deep. So my sisters, we grew up, obviously, together.
Hmm.
Older sister, she's a comedian. She needs to be on Comedy View. Something. She needs to go and be a star. Like seriously, she's so funny. It's ridiculous. I talked to her recently. We conversate, we talk. My younger sister though, kind of similar to my little brother. Like, is she had did some things, and I'm not really dealing with her right now. Honestly, you know how family be. You know, we
Gotcha. Gotcha.
hopefully one day I could talk to her again. But she did some things like, yeah, you can't come between my family and stuff. And just
Gotcha.
said it's just a little, just a little too much. But I love them to death though. Those is my
Right.
sisters. We,
Right.
grew up
Okay.
together. But nah, I love my sisters though. But yeah, my younger sister I don't really mess with too much right now.
Gotcha. So with your stepdad being, probably a little bit more firm or putting down a little bit more than what he should have, did you ever talk to your mom about that? Like, how did she respond to that situation?
We had a great conversation about it. When you're a parent, you don't really see sometimes, especially in that time frame, you focus on surviving, right? You focus on you and what you got going on. We had a deep, real relation, like conversation about it, and she just told me that she acknowledged my feelings
Mm-hmm.
and she apologized for her part in it, and we moved forward, and it was definitely it was an emotional conversation because for so long, when you're a kid you can't talk like too much, like shut up, sit
Yeah.
down, get here, you do this, that, right? So by me being an adult and understanding, um, her positions as well, and what she was going through, she just got through a divorce with my younger sister's dad,
Okay.
and trying to get away from that abusive relationship. So it was a lot of it's a lot of trauma, right? That
Mm-hmm.
she was dealing with, and me just coming full circle with that and being open minded, not only saying like just because I could easily say point the finger, point the finger, point the finger,
Right.
but I realized that her upbringing and then my grandma's upbringing and my great grandma upbringing contributed to all that as well. Like if you just being transparent, if you're thinking about
Right.
the slavery, like a lot of the stuff that we've been through as a people, it trickles down.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
My great grandma was born in 1928.
Okay.
So and she lost her mom when she was 16.
Mm,
She made some mistakes and did some things, but she tried to, come up full circle. But all that kind of trickled down to how my mom was raised, how what she seen and what she thought was right. And I think
right.
that's I think as me being a little bit more level headed and more mature, I realized that you know you can't blame certain people for the things that they don't really know or how to deal with. You know, um, I wish I made like better choices when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
One, you and then the level of education plays a part. Like there's all these different elements that helps a person being able to be aware and open minded to certain things, especially when you um a black woman, trying
Mm-hmm.
to survive and you don't really have my stepfather, he wasn't educated like that either. It
That.
just it's just those things, not trying to
Okay.
bash folks, but just being aware of those things.
Okay. Nini said, did your stepdad ever praise you for any of your accomplishments?
Actually, he didn't because actually I played football. I was pretty good when I was younger. Nah, I never really heard anything. Nope.
Okay. Okay. And then she also said, let me see. Was there any abuse towards your mom, or was your mom scared of your stepdad in any way?
Mm-mm, not
No.
at all.
Okay. Okay. So now, at what age did you catch a charge?
Oof. Let's go back. Okay, so um, I was a baby kid. I mentioned that, right? Uh, so 14 years old, I was charged with attempted murder, but it dropped down to um, possession of a firearm. I got convicted for,
Okay.
and then when I was 17, caught another case uh, for robbery, but for this robbery, it was like multiple robberies, false imprisonments, and it was some time. It was a lot of time
Mhm.
that I was facing, but I end up getting a joint suspension for
Mhm.
one robbery, I believe, in like a false imprisonment. And then when I was 20, caught a burglary,
Okay.
and and then from there I end up doing 4 years 8 months, coming home in 2014, and then that's when my life changed. During that time, 2010, 2014 was real pivotal for my awakening of like trying to figure out who I am as a person, who I really wanted to be, and what was going on, and why was I making these choices, and evaluating myself mentally, uh,
Mhm.
emotionally, and spiritually for me at that time. Because I'm like,
Okay.
yeah, it was crazy. So real quick, say this. So when I caught the joint suspension, right,
Mhm.
I didn't know that time I had to do. So when I caught the other case, it was like 6 years with half was 3 years. So I'm like, all right, with some time or whatever, I'll probably do like 2 months because I was in accounting for about 6 months, and then
Wow.
but the when I was 17 with the robbery, it was 5 years with 85. So it trumped that. So when I took it, I was thinking that I was getting home in 3 years, but I actually did have to do 4. So that right there mentally was just like, man, like it was draining.
Wow.
God, it was all God though. It was so strategically planned, and by me, you obviously participating in that type of stuff. It really gave me the eye opener of what I needed to do to get my butt up out of there and stay out of it.
Yeah.
So I had to mention that for sure.
So when you realize that I have to do these 4 years, what thought was in your head? Like what feeling did you have? Because me going to court with somebody who was being sentenced versus me, I don't know what it's like to be sentenced. I don't even, know what the facial expressions look like. Sometimes people look blank. Like what was going through your mind?
I was sick. I was so
Goodness.
sick. Like it was like what? Like how did that happen? Like no, something is have to be a mistake. No, my date is in 2012. No, my date is not 2014. It was like I was doing life or something.
Right.
I was like, what? Like, hold on, I signed up for the 6.5, not this 585. It's like, hey, that's when that karma come back to you. It's
Yeah.
like JoJo, but you thought it was a game.
Right.
I'm gonna show you, and that was one of those like pivotal moments of my life when I realized that and went to the counselor and I was like, what's going on? And they're like, look, bro, look, you messed up, right? When you look
Hmm.
at Menace to Society, he's like, you're messed up, right? Like,
Right.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Are you serious? Like, no, but it was a blessing in disguise for me. I like to be transparent and real, like I would not trade that experience for nothing in my life at all.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
how that's how much I needed that.
Wow, that's saying something. So when you committed the robbery, like were you involved in a gang? Like what was the purpose?
No, I wasn't. I was from I was from a gang or whatever, but it wasn't like that. It was just money. Like it was
Okay.
just I was just trying to get bread and get money, and yeah, that was my whole biggest thing. It was just getting money and um trying to get it.
Hmm.
Outside of like committing robbery or commit a crime for a gang. Now that was never it. It was just me like trying to eat. To be.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Let me see. All right, now let's get into this incarceration. You got your time, you was sick. Now, when you go through the whole process, you gotta strip down all of that. What was the thought? Like, what was your thoughts then when you first got there? When you was transferred from the county over to state prison? When you get off the bus, they're telling you
Right.
got to go to R&E or diagnostics, whatever they call it in California. Now,
Or
what's the thought in your head now? Like you just there.
yeah, it was reception. I remember when the officer said, uh, "Sign this death certificate," and I was like, "Ooh." This is real. Like, okay.
Right.
And the crazy thing to say too is that my uncle actually died in prison in California in Ironwood
Mm.
State Prison, and that was something that kind of was always on my conscience a little bit. But for the most part, it was just like, man, I'm in prison. Like this is something that I definitely didn't never thought or saw myself going to prison. Like it was something that I just was like, man, like yeah, this is for the birds. I already knew it.
Right.
I already know it.
Right.
And reception pretty much taught me that from the jump. I was in reception for almost, damn, let me remember. It was about at least 6 to 10. Oh, actually, okay, 6 to 10 months. So it was like December. So July 1st of 2010, that was my
Mhm.
first day in prison. And then I think my first day, like in the in prison, we actually got shipped out of state because it was at that time in California, it was overcrowded.
Mhm.
So I ended up going to Mississippi.
Oh gosh. Okay.
They ended up shipping me out to Mississippi in 2010. So like at the end of the year before Christmas, maybe like a week or two before Christmas, and I ended up getting in a riot, and then end up going to the hole for like 4 or 5 months. Because state California, like state politics, prison politics is different than any other state, from what I was told and what I researched. So yeah, I was in a hole. I was in like in a hole in a sense for almost a couple of years. Um,
Wow.
just getting into prison, and then riot happened, going there, getting out in April, programming for a couple of months, going into another prison. That's another reception. So I was on lockdown for pretty much half of my term, and then I had
Wow.
the opportunity to go to fire camp. Um, and once I went to fire camp, that pretty much changed my trajectory.
Okay. Goodness. So already feeling like you in the hole and then being sent to Mississippi. Oh my gosh. That yeah. Okay. So now you get this opportunity to go to fire camp. Is that something that you wanted to do, or did you feel like, well, let me just, burn my time up while I'm here?
So when I got sentenced, they recommended fire camp for me. That was
Okay.
one. So I was aware of it. I didn't really know what that meant. But then when I actually went to prison, I went to when I was in California, they shipped me out to Arizona, then Mississippi. Actually, I'm sorry, Arizona, but I was just there for that little time when I was in the hole, and then they sent me to Mississippi. But then
Okay.
when we went to Mississippi, I went to the counselor because they give the annual every year. You evaluate your points and stuff like that. And once I actually went to my counselor, they talked about you eligible for fire camp due to your time or whatever. I was like, fire camp, okay, what is that? But I heard about it though. Then I said, can I take time to like think about it? Because I
Hmm.
wanted to talk to my mom and call my mom and let her know. Because that was one of the biggest things. I wanted to get back to California. That was one thing. And then, but I also wanted to talk to some folks that was in my dorm or like in my cell, like in my cells or whatever, in
Hmm.
dormitory that they knew like what was that about or whatever. So I talked to a couple of OGs and they was telling me like, yeah, fire camp is different, it's good, it's that. And I'm like, all right, let me see what this is about, um,
Okay.
and make it happen and come back to California so I can see my family because I didn't see them for about like mm, August, so maybe 2013 actually is when I see my mom for the first time. So that like 3 years, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
two and a
So
half
while
years.
you were when you were doing your time, who did your time with you? Did your mom take care of you while you were there? Did she make sure you
Absolutely.
had money?
Yeah, my mom was there. My auntie was there. My auntie, like my family was there for the most part.
Okay.
Girl left me.
Okay.
uh, uh, yeah, my family was there. My sisters wrote me. Family wrote me and stuff.
Okay. Okay. So what is fire camp like? Because the viewers that's watching and asking questions, they want to know what this experience is like when you get there.
Right. So fire camp is a different setting. So usually it's like a dormitory setting. It's like a camp. Like actually, say if you were out, I don't know, Saying the wood, like more dormitory setting, like maybe let me see. It's just free. Like it's not a prison. You're not in cells. You're not locked up. You
So is it
got your
more like an open bay
right.
dorm?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Like open bay dorm. You can be able to go and come as you please. Obviously, you got certain rules and certain times you can be able to go to like the wait pal or go to the go to the TV room,
Hmm.
laundry. Go on the phones there. Um, where I was at, they had a little pond. You got your music. You're kind of like free. You more moving around and roaming around. It's not like you in a remote area. Like you actually maybe say I was like 10 miles, 10 to 15 miles outside of like a city in Hemet, California.
Okay.
So it's like more like just go as you please. Once you come back, you go to pretty much work. You go
Hmm.
and like grade projects throughout the day. So from like 08:30 to say um what is it 14:30 or no 16:30, which is 4:30 p.m. You go out, you go into the city, you go do projects, you go out, you do weed whacking, you do fuel reduction projects because that's real big in California. And then you do train, you go hike because
Okay.
specialize in wildland firefighting. So
Right.
is that's what we pretty much train for and do projects within the community. And
Okay.
it was like you was free. Like I felt like when I left that fire camp, I felt
Hmm.
like when I was leaving it and actually coming home, I didn't feel no type of way. It wasn't like I was locked up because my first term when I was 17 and I was like locked up for 13 months. I was just
Hmm.
like cell living. So when I came home, I was like,
Right.
weird.
This is
You know what I'm saying? It was kind of weird, being out. But by me being out there for about I think 20 plus months, I was acclimated to come out to the city and feel like being a part of the community and stuff. So that was a good transition for myself.
okay. Did you Nini said, did you have any rendezvous with any female correction officers?
Nope.
No, no, Nini, he did not. Okay.
It was yeah, but it was a lot of that though. And I seen somebody say Mississippi is not that bad. You're right, it's not that bad compared to California.
Wow.
That's for sure. It's just a different politics and different cultures
Hmm.
within people. But yeah, it was definitely not for me. My celly actually, he was fond of somebody, but like for
Right.
me, I get
It
that.
happened.
I thought I was cute and all that, but no, I didn't have no take for me. So
You have no take.
no take.
Okay.
They was but I was kind of focused on other stuff, like focus on my get down. So nah, I didn't. But
Okay.
it's a lot though for sure.
Okay. Okay. So you go through this program. How was the experience for you? I guess when you actually had to go out and actually fight the fires. Like were you nervous? Were you prepared with all the training?
I was I can't say spooked. I was like a little nervous for sure because it was something I'd never done before. But
Hmm.
man, when you talking about hiking,
Hmm.
I am. Listen, I'm a young city kid. I don't know nothing about
Right.
no hills. Holding this damn bag and this tool and like all this. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like what the hell? Like, and there's these old men over here out hiking me when I first started. And I'm like, man, this is for the birds. I don't know what the hell. I might
Right.
consider coming back to prison because I don't know about this hiking stuff. These dudes out here with monsters, right? But one of the things that was real eye opening for me is
Hmm.
when my captain was like, "Man, Raimi, you 20 some years old, and these old men are all hiking you." So he kind of like tested my gangster, right? So I'm like, "All
Hmm.
right, okay, since you want to go there, let me go
Right.
ahead and let me figure this thing out." Because to be true, to be totally honest, I got asthma, low key.
Hmm.
So it was like, all right. So that was kind of an issue with me sometimes, is when I first started, but I kind of overcame that and just started grinding and hiking and getting physically fit on that
Oh,
element
wow.
because it ain't nothing compares to hiking. It's nothing that really can prepare you for actually hiking. Like,
Okay.
yeah, your cardio could be nice and all that, but you utilizing some muscles that you probably never used in your whole life. Like
Wow.
weight about 20 to 45 pounds in your back though, like carrying that much weight, like
Hmm.
up the hill and doing it for long periods of time. We had, 16 and 24-hour shifts and actually fighting
Wow.
active wildland fire. So that was kind of different for me. Just
Hmm.
getting trained up to it. But once
Right.
acclimated to it, it was a breeze. And I fell in love with it and I enjoyed it.
Wow. Did you have any injuries?
No, nope, not for myself.
Okay.
No
Okay.
injuries.
Okay. So you go through this program and then now you're released. Now what is life like?
So before that, I was like, man, I fell in love with this. I want to do this when I come home.
Hmm.
But before then, people was like, yeah, you're a felon, you can't do it. And I'm like,
Mm.
I don't know about that. That don't sound
Right.
right. Like, so I'm gonna figure it out. Now that's when I met my co-founder of my organization. His name is
Hmm.
Brandon Smith, and we was always talking about coming back to camps, you know, pretty much paving the way for folks. Because I'm like, man, we can. Like, I love it. I could do it, and I talked to a couple other folks in there, and they're like, man, I would love to do this for a career, but we just don't know how to go about it or whatever.
Okay.
So we took on a challenge of figuring a pathway out for folks, and from there, it was crickets for a while, but
Wow.
me being persistent and me being committed to want to be a different, just a different individual and trying to change my life. I'm like, this is something that I feel like God gave me
Right.
passion for. Um, you know, like He wouldn't just like give this to me and not do nothing with it. So I took it upon myself to take that initiative and the action and try to
Hmm.
figure out how I can be able to be a wildland firefighter when I come home and come to find out there's a lot of folks like us, but it was just never like broadcasted to the world about us being able to pursue this profession as a career.
Right. Okay. Okay. Let's see. See out of town. Okay. Trying to make sure we ain't missing no. Okay. So let everybody know what the name of the your nonprofit is. I gotta drop it in the chat for them too, so they can see later on.
Most definitely. So, our nonprofit organization is a 501(c)(3). It's called the Forestry and Fire Recruitment Program. Um,
Okay.
and we're a nonprofit organization that helps people that's been in California conservation camps, so in fire camps in California, to transition over to the fire service professionally. But lately, we've been helping all walks of life
Okay.
transition to the fire service professionally because it's a definitely need in California for firefighters. We have one of the actually the biggest fire department in the nation. It's called
Hmm.
the Cal Fire. They specialized in forestry for a long time, and now they took on some contracts to be able to work in the fire protection districts throughout the state. So they have a lot of openers, a lot of opportunity for promotion. Actually, I just left there for this organization full time. It's a
Okay.
great, it's a great fire department. They definitely trying to diversify, their employees and stuff because majority of the folks in Cal Fire are, Caucasian white men, but they
Right.
do have, some minorities in there. I think like 40% is minorities, but only 1.7 percent of folks identify as African American, and that's where I'm
Wow.
trying to, be the spearhead on that and show folks
Right.
that opportunity for employment where you can be able to make 60 to 100K a year as a firefighter,
Okay.
depending on what union you are or whatever, and what schedule you have, and being able to have that, retirement, make good money, and be a public servant.
Right. Okay. So how long is the training for this program?
So for my program, we got a 6 month program. It's a paid on the job training, 17.50 an hour,
Okay.
32 hours a week, Monday through Thursday. We do two days in class, 2 days in the field,
Hmm.
and then also it's a mix of social skills. We deal with folks that's being pretty much in the streets, right? How that urban community feels. So we pretty much let them know, like, hey, I've been there, done that. it's a different type of culture. It's a paramilitary culture, right?
Hmm.
You got to be able to adjust to that because a lot of folks we don't have authoritarian kind of like figures and things like
Right.
it's kind of like a trigger and kind of a challenge for folks, but that's something that they have to embrace. We pretty much give them a full bar of what it looks like as a wildland firefighter, and just giving them the skills and tools to be successful. Because most folks that come out of the that come out of fire camps already kind of have an idea of what it looks like and have
Hmm.
that experience, but just don't understand like the professional side because some of them um, never probably even had a job before, right? Like never really had a real program, programming when it comes to
Right.
like in jail, they programming, but like programming outside of that and
Hmm.
understand that you not only just a reflection of yourself and your family, but you also representing a whole firefighter force.
Right.
That's important, so it's a 24/7, 365 get down. Is you
Exactly.
on and off duty, like, and that's what I really push really hard to folks and let them know, like, you got to really be a true servant, and if you really committed to being a better person, because that's my whole ultimate thing is for folks not to go back to prison or
Hmm.
for folks to get some type of career opportunity where they can excel and just be a community member and see themselves as a in a positive light, not in a negative. And I think that I'm doing that God sent work
Right.
and instilling folks because everybody can't be a rapper, everybody can't be a basketball player, everybody can't be like we gotta like switch the game up. And success is
Hmm.
the eyes of the beholders, right? So like if you feel like you obviously you want the white picket fence, you want the kids, you want the family and all that, like you can be able to obtain that and have that job here or doing this career
Hmm.
instead of actually being in the streets and being in prison. Like I feel
Right.
like the option is better than them actually going out here and not being a productive citizen out there in their community. So
Okay. Does your nonprofit only serve people in California?
I've been got a lot of calls. So
Hmm.
to be honest with you, so just to give you a little tidbit of what we got going on. So since like I say 2020, 2021, people start really recognizing our work on a high
Hmm.
level. So we've been getting national media like CNN, PBS, American Outdoors. We had a special on there, Vice News, and Spectrum News and
Okay.
stuff. So people have been calling me about that. Now, one of the
Hmm.
problems that we have with that at least is like we don't have no housing component yet. I've been having talks with LA County to be able to actually facilitate that, but it's an age requirement for that. But if a person is willing to come out, like I train them, like that's not an issue at all. Like it'll be worth the while. I can be able to, set them up for success, but we just don't have like so to answer the question, yes, but
Hmm.
it'd be a challenge for some people because they don't have family or, like getting them into like a spot where they can be able to excel, like and not have
Hmm.
to worry about it. I think or worry about their living situation. I think
Okay.
that's something that they will have to figure out. But we can try to help. But yes, we can help anybody that's out of California. I actually been going to Oregon. I'm trying to talk to some folks in Oregon. I've been in Washington
Okay.
because they have so in the Pacific Southwest and Northwest they have fire camps throughout different states, not only just in California, Oregon, Washington, Arizona, New Mexico. I think Idaho as well. It's been some folks that fight fire. They utilize incarcerated people to fight fire.
Right.
So folks, this work is very important. So folks can be able to make it happen. Even Colorado, yeah, Colorado as well, because I've been talking
Okay.
to them as well about helping them out and stuff, and they program out there. So yeah, we could definitely help out if the situation is suitable for the individual.
Okay. Has there ever been a time that someone, y'all accepted into the program and then they reoffended again?
Yes, we had it. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
thinking. Actually, it's funny because he can't. He's in a cohort one. Actually, two people. Now, it's two people that did. Unfortunately, that was our first cohort. It was something that we was just trying to figure out. I think if we had a better vetting process, I think it would have been a little bit tighter. But now we kind of got that together. So yeah, it's two individuals that reoffended, and one that I know he's trying to actually get back into it. The other
Mhm.
one, he drugs pretty much took a toll on him, and
Okay.
why he actually committed a crime, and that's something that I think is very important for an individual who want to get into this career is like it's pretty much a real true pathway if a person wants to have access to money, right? And a
Mhm.
lot of money and being able to throw themselves a party, if you know what I mean, with the drug situation. So, like, I really highly recommend folks that have those drug issues to go to a sober living home. Just because you
Mhm.
was in prison, um, doesn't mean that in prison sober doesn't mean that you're gonna come home sober. Um,
Right. Right.
you need to get that extra help, right? But one individual, it wasn't that; it was just he was just a knucklehead, and but uh, but yeah, so two people for all the people that we have served
Mhm.
that actually reoffended. So we ain't
Okay.
just
Okay. Okay. Tina said, if you are a firefighter in California, can they move elsewhere, like Maryland, Florida, etc., and not have to go through any more training?
I believe every state have their own training. It will help because you got the experience. Um,
Hmm.
but then depending on what type of state that you go to, if they, you know, if they have responsibility for like a forest or doing wildland fires for folks that fight fire in California, as far
Hmm.
as incarcerated, then if that's not the case, then like for example, if I went to New York, they wouldn't really care too much about wildland fires because they specialize in structure and in the structure firefighting, medical, aid, and hazmat incidents and rope and rescue type of stuff. So
Okay.
it would probably help, but not too much. But if I go to Arizona, go to Oregon, if I go to Washington and go in these certain states that have that, if I can, utilize that experience, and I think it would definitely help. But you probably would have to go through their training and what they got going on.
Okay. Would you give someone a second chance in your program if they were in your program before but had reoffended?
Mm, um, let's say case by case basis. It depends on what
Okay.
happens. Because I can't say like for example, if a person, because I know for a fact, some people have cases,
Hmm.
um, and they go to prison or they go to jail, whatever, and they come home and they might have a pending case or something for whatever reason because it wasn't taken care of and it was out of their control, whatever. Usually they run stuff concurrent, but it didn't happen before too. Like you have warrants or whatever that for whatever reason it happened, and then they end up getting reoffended or getting pulled in or whatever because they have that.
Hmm.
That might be something different. But if you blatantly do something that that is wrong, because I push this whole just being a better person and
Okay.
not go back to prison, not go back to jail, being a true servant of your community. And if you violate those that orientation packet that we put in there as far as being a steward of land and all that, like, and just being a better person, then 9 times out of 10, I'm not. They call me Major Pain. They don't. Some folks be like,
Right.
"Is a monster," like, and I think it's imperative for folks to be held accountable, for things and take
Definitely.
responsibility for their actions. And if you mess up, reputation is everything in the fire service. So like, and we're trying to be the opposite of that. So if we're not trying to promote, folks, no, you like trying to promote that you that guy or you that woman that's gonna be an asset to the community, not a liability. So
Right.
yeah,
Okay. That's fair enough. So before I let you go, I gotta ask a little bit more of your business because it was your wife who sent me the message. So
right.
how did that come about? I can pretty much analyze somebody's message as to whether or not, like, okay, I'm gonna have them on, or I'm not gonna have them on. But
Right.
I can just analyze by the way she messaged me that she thinks highly of her husband. So I don't know where she's at, but I thought I was gonna see her tonight. But
She actually right here. She listening in. She right here. It's funny
yeah,
'cause I'm actually in New Orleans right now. We just did Mardi Gras, so it was an
okay.
experience. Yeah. I don't know if she want me to see her. Like, out there. She in the bed. Look, she in the bed right there. So she chilling.
Look, it's okay as long as she's back there. So, how did
Yeah,
y'all end up meeting? You're a father now, you're a husband, you got a career. So,
right.
what is life like now? With your wife?
Oh, it's great. Obviously, marriage, it could be challenging at times. Just two people from two
Hmm.
different areas trying to figure it out. But it's great. It's a great experience. I love my wife. I love my kids. Um, she was actually online because I'm not a big social media person. And then she said she's seen it on TikTok and seen
Okay.
you and all that. She went to all your stories and like, oh, let me go. And then she read that comment you said about this opportunity. So she said she jumped
Mhm.
on it. And then after the fact, she hit me up. She's like, hey, I need you to send me this and that. Told me about it. I said, oh, okay, perfect. Because I want to get more into it. Um,
Right.
and just to throw a couple of things in there. So I got recognized. So I got a pardon actually now, from the governor of California for my
Oh,
work.
wow. Congratulations.
So we've been doing a lot of little stuff. We've been, we got about a 3.7 million or $6 million budget now.
Hmm.
For the last couple of years. We want to serve more people. But yeah, I know, but yeah, no. So I just want to throw that out there so I forget. So I met my wife when I came home on POF, Plenty of Fish. Um,
Uh-huh.
I read her profile, and I'm like, okay, she's attractive. She got
Hmm.
something going for herself. But one thing that I really liked about her profile was that she was transparent. She just
Hmm.
got she just had a divorce. She got two kids. I want to pursue my career, pursue my degree, a master's degree in nursing, and just trying to just pretty much just want to see somebody, a real one, I want a
Hmm.
real one to be with. So I was like, I'm that real one. Like, can I take you out for for breakfast or something? Can I
Right.
because I was, at that time I was trying to get my little life together. So uh
Right.
I was, I threw the bid out there. She bid on it, so I wheeled her in, and from there we just had conversations, talking, and she see my vision. She knew that I was serious, and I don't know. I told her today. I said, "You crazy for even dealing with me. I would have never did that if I was you. I would have like come from prison and doing it like, nah. I wouldn't have done it. So, but she ended up doing it, and now she reaping
Hmm.
the rewards of that, and she's solid. It's a lot of women out there, and I'm not saying everybody. Let me disclaimer: not all dudes are like this in prison. But do not say Royal Ramey said.
Right.
Royal Ramey said go out there and get you somebody, and because you gotta vet these dudes out because some of these dudes is wild. So
Right.
some folks don't need to come back home because they
Hmm.
stay in there because they mind ain't right. But and I'm a real bit believer in that. But yeah, it was cool. It was definitely a transition for me as like me being an instant dad. Um, and I met Jameer and Michaela when I was 3 and 4. So it was like
Okay.
struggles with that and trying to figure out that because I'm like, damn, I'm a dad now, and then
Right.
trying to get them to like know who I am and not be that my stepdad, right?
I was about to say, you're not being your
That was
stepdad, are you?
that was deep. Nah, absolutely not. Nah. In the beginning of it,
Good.
my son, no, he was a little firecracker. Though, I ain't gonna lie. So I had to like kind of like look, respect me, G. I'm here for the long run. And that's what I was
Hmm.
thinking. But as time though, my wife actually helped me realize some things, like you were saying about the whole parenting get down to like, shut up, do what I
Hmm.
say, this and that. So we kind of talk to each other and balance it out a little bit. I feel like we do need to like give our kids some type of structure and
Hmm.
discipline, but then also too not being like like nah, this is a new generation. This is
Hmm.
like kids gotta like you gotta let them breathe and live. You gotta show them things. You gotta build their trust and love them and love on them and show them that you care. But you also, for me personally, like the discipline and stuff has to be there as well. It got to be a balance, and I think we
Right.
have realized that. And I learned a lot from my wife and my kids since I've been home. It definitely made me a better man, and yeah, I'm happy and I'm living life and I'm loving it. I could die right now and be a happy man.
You
Honestly,
happy?
I
Well,
could.
listen, I'm excited for you. When she, when we corresponded back and forth, I was just like, this is a way for me to end my February lives with a bang. I feel like your husband's Black History.
Let's go,
But
baby.
yeah, I mean, I love Black love. So that's why I'm like so excited for y'all because, y'all are a successful Black couple. You know what I'm saying? So I love Black love and I love my Black people.
Thanks.
So I was really, really, really excited to do this live. Hey,
Hi.
hi.
It's crazy seeing
Thank
you
you
in
for
person.
joining us.
It's nice
Yeah.
to see you in person instead of listening to your stories. But I love your stories. You got to keep them going.
Right. Thank you. I'm going to try to record some tonight so I can have it up there by 5 a.m.
Perfect. Thank you.
Definitely. Okay. Thank you. But I definitely was a pleasure having you on. I appreciate you coming on. Y'all, I'm dropping the link in the chat one more time for another interview that he did with, I think it was Vice, right?
Yep.
Let me put that in there one more time before we get off.
Things too. I can send you some more little footage.
Okay.
If anybody want to donate to our nonprofit, that'd be highly appreciative. Whatever you can do, that'll be good.
Definitely.
We are a nonprofit. We led by Black, men that's out here trying to make a difference. And we serve all type of different communities. And yeah.
Look, you sending me. She said y'all got some pretty teeth, both of y'all.
Yes, we do. Thank you so much.
Hey, they got them good firefighter benefits too now. To go with it. But you send me the information for your nonprofit. If you have any more firefighters, I try to post jobs as often as I can that are felon friendly or programs for them. I would definitely post it on my social media as much as I can. The link to donate to the nonprofit, anything that I could possibly do to make sure that we keep you in the limelight, Black history. Send it to me and I definitely post it for you.
Appreciate it.
Definitely. But I appreciate having you on. I appreciate your wife reaching out. Don't forget to send me that information. When I say I'm gonna post it, like I'm a woman of my word, I post it.
All right, perfect. I got some stuff for you then.
Okay, no problem. I would do it. But thank you for joining me tonight. I hope y'all continue to enjoy your time in NOLA, enjoying Mardi Gras. And tell your wife I have a story posted for her in the morning.
Absolutely. She gonna be up there. She's gonna be ready to go. We gotta get up. We gotta go to California back tomorrow. So
Okay. Well, y'all have a safe trip back. Congratulations on your pardon, on your budget, on your nonprofit. Yes. I'm excited. Like I know you in real life.
Hey, one day we might have to come and see you.
Definitely. I am excited. Look, I'm sitting over here thinking can we get another, one of these over here in Florida and Georgia? Like, look, might have to put something together.
Hey, and that's something too. We are talking on the back end because I got some ideas.
Okay.
And things.
Okay, no problem.
I even go out there and talk and chop it up with some folks, and because I think that's where we don't have options. That's another thing too, like just options, right? People be so tunnel vision on certain things that they need to know about like options, and I would love to talk about that because I think Black folks, we don't really see us in these positions where we feel like we don't see ourselves.
Right.
I think that we have to explore because the only way we gonna really get changed is the way to be in those positions.
Exactly.
Somebody got to step up to those plates and being police officers, being COs, being firefighters, being lawyers, being doctors, being in these politician seats and stuff like that too. So,
right. Yeah. So representation is everything. We always see us as rappers or in sports, but I think it's so many more positions that we need to fill. So like I don't even encourage mine to be a rapper. I'm just like, look, get on the board of whatever to make some changes. You know what I'm saying? That's where we're needed at. So yeah,
that's my next step. So just letting you know, you're gonna see me in politics for sure.
Okay. I am there. But thank you so much for joining us, Roy. I appreciate you and your wife, and send me that information and we will definitely talk on the back end.
All right. Thank you. You have a great day.
You're welcome.
Have a